Hello and good day. Welcome into MaxPreps.com, America's source for high school sports. I am Chris Stonebraker. This guy pointing at me is Zack Poff, and we will soon be joined by Jason Hickman, our national basketball editor. Welcome to the first team announcement show.
Yeah, and Stone, I'm glad. I know you're glad.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to pick the 5 guys that make the list. As you mentioned, we're bringing in our guy, Jason Hickman, our national basketball editor. Jay, what's good, baby?
Well, you guys have probably heard this debate in recent days about, is this the greatest NBA season of all time? Hey, this was a great high school basketball season as well. 92-point game kind of stole the headlines, but there was a lot of other incredible storylines, and I'm glad to be here with you guys today to put a big bright bow on it.
And Jay, it's funny that you bring that up about the NBA, because this guy was asking us in the Peach Pit, is this the best season ever? The answer is no, but we'll save that for another day. Now, we're going to pull up the list of the 5 guys that made the first team list. You got the Player of the Year, Michael Porter Jr., Ethan Thompson, Bagley III, and Zion Williamson, 2 juniors. But regardless of class, they're bad boys. Trey Young's pretty good, too.
That is not a bad list if you're talking about high school basketball. And to Jay's point, could arguably be one of the most interesting, most phenomenal, spectacular seasons we've had.
Just say it.
Could be the greatest for Leland of all time. Now, when we're speaking about the MaxPreps first team All-American team, you got to talk about the National Player of the Year, because one of those guys has to be it. Now, Jason,
PJ.
Michael Porter Jr., how easy was this?
Kind of reminiscent of a year ago where we had Lonzo Ball, who was averaging nearly a triple-double for the undefeated state and national champions out in California, Chino Hills. When you're putting up 37 points and 14 rebounds a game like Michael Porter Jr. did this year at Nathan Hale High School in Seattle, it's a no-brainer. Of course, Nathan Hale won the state title and finished number 1 in our high school top 25. My decision, or our decision, I should say, for him to be the Player of the Year was really solidified. Seeing the way that he handled himself at the McDonald's All-American game, this is a young man that's really cut out for stardom, and I don't think that is too far ahead of him at the college and pro level.
Yeah, I mean, just a tremendous season for Porter Jr. I mean, the team won 3 games last year. They come around, they're the number 1 team in the country, so big time. And Ethan Thompson, though, big fan of this kid down in SoCal.
Love this pick.
Jay, talk about the season and the run he went through down in Southern California to win that state title and section crown.
Yeah, historical run for Bishop Montgomery, no doubt. They won 5 games over nationally ranked opponents in the postseason to win the section and state titles. I'm not sure if that's ever been done. Maybe some of the high school hoops historians can hit us up, but Ethan Thompson was at the center of that. He'll be heading to Oregon State next year. What a coup for them. Averaged 22 points, 7 rebounds per game, and just an unbelievable way to cap a special career there at Bishop Montgomery.
This is what I like about the first team All-American team that you picked, Jason. This guy right here, it's not about the rankings.
It was about 100, though.
He is, but it was the fact that he was really great
this
year, and he went through a big season. Speaking of really good, though, this guy you just couldn't leave off. He might be the best player regardless of class. Marvin Bagley, he's one of our 2 juniors that made the team. Speak about him.
Yeah, great season. Now, obviously sat out last year at Sierra Canyon dealing with a little bit of a transfer snafu. But this year, Sierra Canyon, not arguably, I think they probably had the best regular season resume of any team in the country. Their lone loss came to number 1 Nathan Hale, but they beat La Lumiere, who was the independent top 10 national champion and won the tournament title at Dick's Nationals last week. They beat Oak Hill Academy, beat Findlay Prep, and beat Memphis East, who finished number 2 in our high school top 25 in the final at the Bass Pro Shop Tournament of Champions, I should say. Bagley averaged 24 points per game. He was at the heart of all that. Special player. They had a little meltdown in the postseason, but it doesn't take away from the season-long resume, in my opinion, for Marvin Bagley.
And there might not have been a bigger debate this year about juniors. Who's the top junior? You got Bagley there, but how about my guy Mount Zion out in South Carolina? Of course, we're talking about Zion Williamson and talk about an absolute freak athlete.
Yeah, 2 juniors on the first team. That's a bit unusual, but like Bagley, I think Zion Williamson was undeniable in terms of his production and success. Averaged 36 points per game, 15 rebounds, led his team to a state title. And he was on every highlight show just about every single time they played for incredible dunks. His physical maturity and athleticism for a junior in high school is off the charts. Maybe something we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. A guy named LeBron James might have been the last one that we have, and
So
we'll always
just call
compare.
him the King 2.0, or does that work? Not yet.
That usually means like better, so that's hard to be like
Second version.
The second version, yeah, beta, and then come
I
out.
sound like
So
Lyndon.
we have 5 players that make the first team All-American team. So this is the last player on the list.
Good math.
We need a point guard usually, even though now in new basketball, point guards really don't matter.
Yeah.
But how about this guy? Was Trey Young from Norman North the best point guard in the country?
He was certainly the best scoring point guard in the country, Chris. No doubt about that. Averaged over 42 points per game. Hard for me to even wrap my mind around what that would look like over the course of 25 games. His team won 19, just missed the state playoffs. He didn't have a ton of talent around him at Norman North, but unbelievable performance. Had 62 in one game, which was a state record. And I think we're going to be looking back in 5-10 years and talking about Michael Porter Jr. and Trey Young playing on the same club team, which was Mocan Elite. They won the Nike EYBL title. Pretty hard to believe that those two guys were in the same starting 5 on the club circuit.
Yeah, and I'll say this. When I was at the Peach Jam, Michael Porter Jr., #1 recruit, player of the year, I thought Trey Young was the best player on the floor when those two guys were playing on the same team. He's got Curry range. He's a big-time playmaker. I like his game. Speaking of another game I like, I won't tell you who it is. I'll let you tell us. We want a 6-man. Who was the hardest guy to leave off, Jay?
Closing strong based on the heels of what we saw last week at Dick's Nationals. I'd give that nod to Brian Bowen from La Lumiere. The Lakers finished the season as our independent top 10 national champion. Big run last week in New York City, beat Findlay Prep in the semifinals and ran away from Montverde in the championship game. And Brian Bowen was right there, averaged over 20 points per game on a team that will probably have at least 7 or 8 future Division I college players. Special player, and had a real special 2-year run at La Lumiere, uncommitted. We'll see where he goes. There's been some whispers, but somebody's going to get a huge late pickup in the form of Brian Bowen.
Michigan State, Jay.
Yeah,
That's all
I'm going to
saying.
say Michigan State as well. We have an interview.
Jared Jackson's going there.
Yeah.
His teammate at La.
His boy.
He's related to Jay Rich, former Spartan. You can book it.
You can book it. And he's been Gary Trent Jr. basically told us, when he plays at Michigan State and they play each other at the very beginning of the game, they will not be beating him. So we will see from there. Thank you, as always, Jason Hickman, MaxPreps' national basketball editor. We appreciate you coming on here each and every time. You have so much information, so much knowledge, and appreciate you doing the hard work of picking the 5 players on this first team All-American list.
I appreciate you guys, too. Thank you.
Well, that means a lot.
Yeah, that does mean a lot. Thank you, Jason. Without him on the show, you don't want to listen to us.
Nobody does.
Because he knows what he's talking about. He tries.
Yeah.
I'm just here to smile. And that will be it for this announcement show of the first team All-Americans in 2017. I am Chris Stonebraker. This is Zack Poff, and you've clicked in to MaxPreps.com, America's source for high school sports.